Good morning. Today is November 8th, and we are going to start with a daily reflection on the Old Testament. I will greatly rejoice in the Lord. My soul shall be joyful in my God, for he hath clothed me with the garments of salvation. He hath covered me with the robe of righteousness. Isaiah 61:10. We live in a time when evil is increasing all about us. On every side, the father of lies whispers temptation, and the bright lights of the world's enticements beckon. Prophets since time immemorial have warned us to resist iniquity and stay on the Lord's side. The Apostle Paul exhorted us to put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. We will be able to withstand the evil day if we have loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, and our feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace, the shield of faith, the helmet of salvation, and the sword of the Spirit. Mercy and grace cloak us with the garments of salvation. What joy and rejoicing ought we to feel as we turn to the Lord for protection and safety. I have no thoughts on that. All right, so today is Hosea 3 and 4, and I didn't get any context yesterday. We were busy at work. My back hurt from standing all day, so I didn't get any context. I didn't even think about Hosea at once yesterday at all. So again, today's chapters were slightly confusing, but with the knowledge that I had from yesterday about how it's an archetype or whatever. In chapter 3, Israel will seek the Lord, return to the Lord, and receive of his goodness in the latter days. And then in chapter 4, Israel loses all truth, mercy, and knowledge of God and goes whoring after false gods. Again, it's talking about his wife and his children and whoring and adultery, if I can speak. So nothing really stood out. The side-by-side has one thing for chapter 3, and then it skips all the way to chapter 13. So, for chapter 3, Israel's ultimate destiny. In the due time of the Lord, the bride Israel shall be purged of her unrighteousness and return to the Lord in worthiness and devotion. So, it is what it is. I'm learning that Hosea is less of a story and more like Isaiah. Very revelatory in nature, less story as in Daniel. So let's see if Ludlow has anything to say about a few things to say, but it's very, very small. So the Hebrew word translated as flagons of wine in chapter 3, verse 1, could have been translated more literally as raisin cakes of grapes. Such cakes were used during some of the fertility cult rites during that period. Interesting. And then for verse 5, Hosea redeems his unfaithful wife with 15 pieces of silver, which was half the price of a slave. Whoa. I'm trying to, you want a slave. It is 30 pieces of silver. That's a lot of money. To redeem your wife is just 15. What does that say about the value of your wife? In this case, Israel. That's something to think about. Requiring only that she would not play the harlot again, but would be faithful to him from that time forth. In somewhat the same way, in the latter days, the wayward children of Israel will return to their true God and recognize David, or a descendant of David, the Messiah, as their king. And then we move on to chapter 4, and it's for verse 2. This verse could have been translated lying and swearing and killing and stealing and doing adultery increase, and blood touches against blood. And then for verses 12 and 14, the evidences of Israel's apostasy are idolatry and adultery. Okay, so the evidences of Israel's apostasy are idolatry and adultery. So, idolatry, worshiping something that is not God, giving your time, attention, love, and devotion to something that is not God. And then also, once you have given all of that to God, you turn to something else and give it once you've made covenants with God. Okay. That's very interesting. Very, I was watching this thing. I try to stay away from political stuff, but I was watching this thing about Elon Musk clearing out Twitter. And the person said, I think he's making it so that Twitter is more transparent. The people on Twitter are more transparent, but I still don't trust him. I was like, that's very interesting. She goes on to say, I don't trust anybody but myself, my mom, and somebody else. And she goes, I don't think we should have false gods or false idols. And I'm like, that's very interesting, because a lot of people, whether on the left or right, have these people who they are putting their trust in. You know, like those who are conservative are putting their trust in Elon to set right the social media discourses or whatever. And people on the right put their trust in whichever political leader is popular at the moment. You know, whichever one isn't. Anyways, they're putting their trust in these people. And she's saying, I think what he's doing is good, but I still don't trust him. I only trust myself. And I think that's a good thing to take away, is that, one, where are you putting your trust? Where are you putting your loyalty? Is it in God and yourself, or is it in the outside world? Are you embracing? Are you letting in? You know, are you letting idols corrupt your mind? Are you letting false lovers, as they called it here in Hosea, infiltrate your days, your mind? Anyways, all interesting things, which I'm enjoying quite a bit. Okay, so now I'm going to leave you. Sorry, I got distracted. I want to peel this off. A prayer from a diary of prayer. Today's the 8th. Yeah, today's the 8th. Okay. This prayer comes from Russian Kontakion of the Departed. All right. Oh. Give rest, O Christ, to thy servant with thy saints, where sorrow and pain are no more, neither sighing, but life everlasting. Thou only art immortal, the creator and maker of man, and we are mortal, formed of the earth, and unto earth shall we return. For so thou didst ordain when thou createdst me, saying, Dust thou art, and unto dust thou shalt return. All we go down to the dust, and weeping o'er the grave, we make our song. Alleluia, alleluia, alleluia. Give rest, O Christ, to thy servant with thy saints, where sorrow and pain are no more, neither sighing, but life everlasting. All right, so that was Hosea 3 and 4, and we do 5 and 6 tomorrow. See you then. Bye.